Thank you very much for your warm reception. I'd like to apologize in advance for a sore throat. It seems that a virus has hit me. I come out here today to Boston, where I've got a lot of good computer friends. Some of the finest people in our business have come from here. I come from Cupertino, which is the home of the greatest revolution of our times. I grew up in Silicon Valley, home of transistors and integrated circuits is why it's called Silicon Valley. And there were a lot of electronics parents, a lot of electronics kids. We read Tom Swift books, stories like the Hardy Boys, except it was about this inventor named Tom Swift, who had his own company, who had his own laboratory. I would sit there reading these books about how ingenious he was and how resourceful he was to solve any problem in the world, to build any device that was needed to trap aliens from outer space or to send anti-earthquake pulses through the earth. Would read these stories by moonlight after my parents made me turn my own lights off. So Tom Swift was our hero. A lot of times when you're very young, you read a book and it kind of gives you inspiration. The heroes you identify with lead you on your path in life. Read a book in about 5th grade called SOS at Midnight, about a guy who had a ham radio license. And he was in high school, and a bunch of his friends would get on the air every Tuesday night at midnight and send messages back and forth in Morse code with telegraph keys, beep, 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 beep. He got kidnapped in the book. He was able to rewire the kidnapper's TV, build a transmitter, transmit a message to his friends, and they were able to come and rescue him. Went to school the next day and told my friends, I'm going to be a ham radio operator. And sure enough, by 6th grade, I had a ham radio license. A lot of these little directions, things like science fair successes and all, kind of determine your direction in life. And it all happens when you're young. Most teachers tell me that it's like around by 3rd, 4th grade, they can tell which students have decided to kind of be dropouts and always act like school's not important and I'm too tough for this, and which ones are really bright and they want to learn and they want to study and discover new things. My friend Alan Baum was my only friend. He went off to MIT and would ship me manuals from the courses he was taking, and I would read all of his books, and I learned a lot that way. He told me there's a club starting for people who have terminals and things. I said, great, I just designed a terminal. I can go down to this club and tell everybody I've got a terminal of my own design, a video terminal. I didn't even know that there were a couple of other people designing video terminals back in that date, like Don Lancaster, who had the TV terminal, which was a hot product in the hobbyist community, because I'd gotten out of the electronics hobby community. I didn't read their magazines. I didn't know that what a microcomputer was. I didn't know what a microprocessor was. I didn't know that a microcomputer had recently been introduced that was spurring this thing to happen. If I had known that the first microcomputer club in the United States was about to start, I would have been afraid to go because I was very shy and scared of kind of unknown territory. I would have skipped it. But my friend lied to me and told me it was a meeting for people with terminals, so I went. 20 people met in a dark garage with the rain dripping outside the garage, and Gordon French's garage, he stood up front and explained what these upcoming computers were and why the 8008 microprocessor might still have a lot of value, even though the 8080 was superior. And other people got up and started talking about this 8080 chip that I'd never heard of, and how a company out in New Mexico had built it into a cheap computer that people could buy and build it as a kit. You would buy it as a kit, get all the parts, you'd stuff them in boards, solder them together, bolt transformers in place, screw the whole thing together, put a front panel on, solder wires to switches. You had to be a technician to build it, but when you were done, you had a computer. Couldn't do one useful thing in the world, but it was a computer. And there were a lot of people that were going to want this kind of thing even before they could use it for anything. They started talking about these products at this homebrew computer club, as it became known as later on. And I sat there feeling very sheepish. How do these high school kids and how do these grandparents know all these things that are going on? And they know mnemonics and codes and processors, and I don't even know a thing about this. So I was very sheepish, but I took a data sheet home with me that night, and I studied a microprocessor chip, and by morning, I knew that a microprocessor was just like a mini computer, except it was smaller and all on one chip. But it had the same kinds of instructions and the same kind of computer logic, And I had studied these things and designed my own and built them, and I knew what they were about. I had written a lot of software for them, even though I never had one to run it on. So this changed my life quite a bit. I decided to get back into computers. And I knew that now I was going to actually own my own computer, like I had promised myself when they cost as much as a house. That now I could afford it, especially if I built my own. It was very difficult to come up with $400 in 1975, which is a lot more of today's dollars, to buy a little computer that kind of has 256 bytes of memory. And then you've got to spend another $400 for some memory, and another $800 for a terminal, and another $800 for BASIC. I didn't have this kind of money, but I knew that at least if I built the computer myself, I could get a lot of the parts for free. And I already had designed a video terminal, which could be the heart of a computer. The first thought that occurred to me was all these other computers are big old boxes with a flat square metal plate and a bunch of toggle switches on them. And that didn't seem right, because here I had a video terminal, and it was so convenient to call big computers in Boston and run programs on them with this terminal. And so I came up with the idea in my head that the right paradigm for a microcomputer was a terminal, a keyboard to enter information in. And you could start typing if you had a small program like we had in our calculators, a small program that when you turn it on, it starts looking at the keyboard and says what key gets pressed. You press the 5 key, and it goes off and it tucks a 5 into memory somewhere, and maybe displays it on a screen. And then it says what key's going to get pressed, and you press a 6, and it does something with the 6, and you press the return key, and that means go do something. If you write a little program in ROM memory, non-destructible memory, and you deliver it with the computer, it took many fewer chips and much lower cost to read a keyboard in than the huge number of chips you had to put in to operate with a front panel anyway. This kludgy front panel where you had to toggle strange binary numbers on switches took more chips to get into the computer and make the computer operate according to when you push buttons on the panel than if you simply had a keyboard that could send commands directly into a program that would do it for you. So the idea was a computer should look like a terminal. It should have a keyboard and a TV screen. And of course, I was into what would I use a computer for? Well, there were two obvious things. When you went to open house at Stanford Linear Accelerator Center, or Stanford this and that, or any other computer place, what did they show on computers in 1975? These big, huge machines, that there was a computer elite, there was a mystique about them, nobody could have their own. What did they show to families on open house day? Games. And of course, at my homebrew computer club, there was a flood of books showing games written in BASIC. And this was going to be the accepted default standard for microcomputers at its start. So I knew that first of all, I wanted to be able to run games written in the BASIC language. Also, I had certain types of computer design problems that I did for Hewlett-Packard for my job. And I wanted to be able to implement those programs and run the ones that would help me in my design work. Well, the Homebrew Computer Club, I was starting to spin ideas of what I would do with a computer, and I knew I was going to build one, but there was one problem. The heart of the computer, the microprocessor chip, cost $400. That's like $1,000 today. That's a lot to pay for one chip that's the heart of your computer. You're not likely to do it if you're just on your own and you got holes in your jeans and that's all you wear and you're just a long-haired technician kind of at work. So I wasn't going to go down to some weird little distributor who wants me to sign up on all these sheets that make it look like I'm setting up an account. And I'm giving information about my bank, which generally has $20 in my account. And it's a strange world. When you're used to buying things, at the grocery store over the counter, you don't feel comfortable. You're not a businessman. You don't know what these accounts are all about. So it was very difficult for someone like myself to buy a microprocessor. Well, a company called MOS Technology got started, and they introduced a microprocessor called the 6502 in such a way that in San Francisco at an electronics show, they would sell it over the counter for a $20 bill. And this was a remarkable marketing coup, and a lot of my friends from Hewlett-Packard, a lot of friends from the computer club who couldn't afford one before, went down and bought that $20 chip, and that's how we chose it. And it claimed to be the best chip of its day anyway, which I still agree. The personalities of our computer club. It was the first one in the country. Some of the key leaders, including our eventual meeting conductor, Lee Felsenstein, and Robert Riley, and some others. They had come from a background of leading anti-Vietnam War demonstrations in the Berkeley area and Oakland area. And they had come to discover that they needed a better way to network people and have communication tools. And they envisioned the computer as the eventual solution, the way that people could, via electronic bulletin boards, leave messages and I need this, and eventually expand their database and their knowledge. And they wanted to organize this kind of operation. They saw computers as a socialization tool. Others of those who founded the company saw it as a technology-changing tool, and we were going to revolutionize the world and turn the tables upside down on companies that pretended that computers were big and enormous and beyond our understanding. Now we realize that young children in school, young 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds, were going to be writing better programs than their parents, and suddenly discovering that, hey, computer isn't that much of a mystique after all. It's really simple, and anybody can do it. So Lee Felsenstein would conduct the meetings. He did a very good job. Organized us into mapping periods where people would raise their hand and say, does anyone have this sort of thing? This is what I need, a type of chip or an interface schematic, or know how you fix this problem. Other people would raise their hand and say, I've got some RAMs for sale today, $2 each, or I've got some manuals on this, I've got a certain type of teletype for sale. People would offer things, and what you'd do is if somebody offered something you needed, you'd look at them, raise their hand, you'd see who it is, and you'd meet with them later during the random access period. If someone needed help on something and you could offer help, you'd go meet with them during the random access period. And we were all there to help each other see what this revolution was all about. And we used the word revolution very openly. All the companies, everything that was printed in the financial sections of the newspapers in 1975 said, it's a bunch of kids driving around in beat-up VW vans. This thing's never going anywhere. These computers don't have a marketplace. It's just a little fad, for the hobbyist community. But we started realizing that people were going to have computers in their homes, and that it was just starting, and that the big companies didn't see it. Jim Warren came to our club meetings, and he had some experience with a company called People's Computer Company, involved a lot in getting educational software out to the masses. And he had rumor after rumor after rumor, every single tidbit about what company was going to come out with this product, and so over there, this executive was leaving to join some other firm, a new microprocessor was about to be introduced. He always knew every tidbit of information weeks before we normally heard it. So half of the meeting was consumed listening to these interesting little tidbits about the industry that was evolving from Jim Warren. This was the most important, every 2 weeks we met. Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. This was the most important every 2 weeks of my life to get ready for this meeting and to hinge on every word and listen, because I was too shy to ever raise my hand and speak myself. I was not really a participant yet. My friend Dan Sokol, whom I met there, would go up to the front of the auditorium sometimes and say, is there anyone here from Atari? No hands would go up. He'd say to 500 people, he'd say, well, I've got some chips from a Pong game they're going to come out with for their home, and it's not quite on the market yet, but we're going to auction them off. We had there was kind of a pirate aspect to it. Nothing ever seemed wrong to us. Later on, the people who eventually formed Microsoft introduced the first BASIC for these small computers. You buy the computer for $400, you buy the BASIC for $600. Doesn't sound very efficient. Okay, this is from Bill Gates. Well, Dan Sokol took a copy of it on paper tape that you could read in with a big, huge teletype, took it home, came back with 20 copies. Okay? And the rule of the club sort of became, anything you take out of the library, you have to bring 2 or more back. Randy Wigington was a high school kid who eventually became very important in Apple's early history. And although he was just in high school, he was sharp, he was at the club, he had a lot of good questions and comments, and I met him there. And he would help me carry my big Sears TV in and set it down on a table where I could demonstrate my computer work as I started designing computers for the club. Randy was in charge of running a chat program on a local time-sharing company where people with terminals could all call in and talk to each other, much like today's forums, much like, even forums on the new Apple link. Well, I discovered that this program that did this chatting used a file. I read the program written in BASIC, used a file called chatx to pass the information one person was typing to everyone else that was listening. So I wrote a program of my own that sat there in a little loop and said, is chatx free? Is chatx free? As soon as it was, grabbed it and dumped 14 pages of Pollock jokes into it. Another youngster I met at this club, Chris Espinosa, became very important in Apple's history, going way back to its earliest days, before we even started, right on through today. He still works at Apple, one of our longest term employees. We were about to come out with the Apple II in an eventual year. I'll skip ahead and tell this. The Apple II, and Chris stayed all night with me writing the first demonstration program ever to use high-res color demonstration program on the Apple II computer for a magazine article so we could get some pictures. So we stayed there till 2, 3, 4 in the morning making little changes to it to swirl lines around on a screen. Chris went home kind of late, you know, he lived down the street. And his mother got so upset at him coming home that late because he was only like 16, 15 or 16, that she wouldn't let him come to Apple for a long time. Most of the people in our club were very scraggly. They weren't dressed certainly in suits. They weren't managers. They weren't the people who even had good access to computers. They were the ones that wanted computers of their own. They were all technicians. Very few of us could afford a computer. After about 1 year of the club operating with every single person out of 500 gonna own a computer, only about 5 to 8 of us had our own computers yet. The newsletter, we had a newsletter. People would give little program listings. Here's how you can write a program to calculate a random number. Here's how you can write. They were very simple, trivial programs at first, but it inspired others of us to believe that anything you do has value if you want to share it. So I started writing programs and sharing them through this club newsletter with other people, or handing out my own schematics or my own programs so that other people could build their own projects. I handed out schematics of my terminals. Eventually, when I built the Apple I, I handed out schematics of that. Went over to people's houses and helped them build their own. We believed that there wasn't any money in this. This was not a business. We were doing it for the love of technology, and we were changing the world. And this was just our little step on the way.
See the movie, you may want to pick up the book.
Dad, what are stars made of?
Gases. Hot gases.
Gases?
Mm-hmm.
Then why do they stay in one place?
When it's your turn to be the teacher, why not use the computer more teachers use? Macintosh.
Mom, how come fish don't drown?
When it's your turn to be the teacher, why not use the computer more teachers use? Macintosh.
Dad, what makes a curveball curve?
It's all in the grip. The alignment of the stitches. How you release. Something about the way it spins.
So what makes it curve?
When it's your turn to be the teacher, why not use the computer more teachers use? Macintosh.
It's time to wake up, Tommy.
Tommy.
Hey, partner, it's time to get up.
Oh no, here she comes! Tommy, your oatmeal's getting cold.
You asked for it, Tommy.
If you owned the world's easiest computer, what would you do with it?
The northern female mockingbird. And here's her mate, the northern male mockingbird.
If you owned the world's easiest computer, what would you do with it?
I'm really sorry, folks. The presentation should be running. I just installed my new operating system, Windows 95.
Try typing sysedit.exe.
Thank you.
Check your autoexec.
No, look at your config.sys.
Thank you.
If you're looking for a computer that's easy to use, there's still only one way to go.
Get them back.
As far as I can tell, families have two kinds of people. The ones who want everything to stay the same, and the ones who want to spice things up a bit. I guess you can count me in the second group. Zoe, too. She's my sister. Frank, he's always up for something crazy. And Mom, she's a classic. Gramps loves opera, so you can count him in for some fun. And Schubert, he's just cool. I guess in our family it was only Pop who was really set in his ways. Of course, we all thought that would change once we got our new computer. I'm TJ, and this is the story about when my family, the Martinettis, brought home a computer. Getting a computer in our family was a real adventure. We're all so different, I never thought we could agree on one. Mom, you see, she runs a home business.
Hi, kiddo.
Hey, Mom. That is when she's not running the home. Frank, he's the brains around here, studying to be an engineer. Or something like that. Zoe and Gramps, they're the Martinetti Philharmonica and Jug Band.
Allegro, honey. More Allegro.
Well, that's what Pop calls them anyway. As for Pop, he's got his own ideas about things.
Where's the sports?
But he's a great guy.
Never.
Hey, Pop, check this.
That's pretty clever, TJ.
Yeah, Pop's understanding, supportive.
But no points.
And sometimes as stubborn as a mule.
No points? What do you mean, no points? It's a work of art here.
A work of art. Yeah, that's what everybody thought.
Oh, I like it.
No points.
Except Pop. Now I gotta tell you about points. And I gotta tell you how we weren't gonna keep the computer until we earned enough points to convince Pop we should.
The world got along fine for thousands of years without computers.
The world got along terrible.
And that's because there was no Tetris.
You hear that? Exactly.
See what I mean? I better go back to the beginning, though, because it's a wild story, and you really gotta know our family to understand. I guess it all started the night I came home late from school. Sorry I'm late, you guys. I was finishing up my report at the computer lab at school.
Oh, well, since when's our typewriter not good enough for reports?
Pop, you can do all kinds of stuff on the computer you can't do here.
Like?
I use the electronic encyclopedia, the internet. I put pictures and words together. The thing is, Pop had a computer at work, and about all he ever did was put numbers into it. I don't blame him for not wanting one of those, but he didn't know there was a whole other world out there. Hard disk drive, it's really cool.
I hear you can even get music on the computer.
Opera?
Sure, Gramps, and pictures, too.
Well, you can do that on a computer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey.
The kids could really use a computer, Lou. Maybe even you and me.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mary. What if we get one and we don't use it?
Well, we could just look.
I want one.
Me too.
No promises.
So that's how the great computer quest began. Of course, Pop said that before we did anything, we had to talk to an expert.
Well, who do we know that knows a lot about this kind of stuff?
Fletcher. The next day, we went to see Fletcher. Fletcher was what Pop would call a piece of work. He was Frank's friend, a real genius, and he sold computers. There he is.
Whoa, the whole Martinetti family, wow. Fletcher, we're thinking about buying a computer. Tell Pop it's a good idea.
Oh, it's a good idea. Now, I could sell you something expensive, Mr. M, but I won't.
Thanks, Fletcher. Now, what do you got?
Well, let's see. You'd be interested in a computer the whole family could use, right?
Right, yeah.
Something with multimedia.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of PC clones in stock.
PC clones?
Now this one's on sale. Of course, you want to add a few options. A CD-ROM drive, you need that. Sound card, need that. Memory management and adapter. Of course, you want to memorize some commands. You'll need some instructional books for that.
Then it hit me. Fletcher was making a point.
Oh, and also, you have to configure this one to run multimedia. Mr. M, now all of this is yours for a mere...
Uh-oh. Pop was not impressed. But then...
On the other hand, you could buy a Macintosh Performa.
Yeah. Fletcher showed us the Performa. It was like the Macintoshes we had at school, except it came with a whole bunch of extras. It had CD-ROMs that Zoe and I could use for learning. There are programs Mom could use for her home business. And a modem, too, to get information online. Plus, there were games. This was a lot easier than a PC with Windows, and Fletcher showed us why. On the Windows PC, he had to know pathways and commands to manage files. But with the Performa, you just clicked on a file and there you were. On the Windows PC, running a CD-ROM was a real hassle. But with the Performa, you just put in the disk and bam! It made everything you want to do simple. We all thought for sure Pop was going to buy the Performa.
And the price?
It was a done deal.
Well, think about it, all right?
Think about it? No way.
What's to think about? We saw that one work. We saw this one work. This is better.
Now here's where the fun began.
What expert?
Because Gramps and Pop, they always see things different.
Well, you were always so stubborn.
What, me?
Pop went one way,
I'm not going to argue.
Gramps the other.
I'll buy it, all right?
Yes!
And I'll also pay for the printer.
Gramps.
But here's the deal. If the family proves that they really need it, then you got to pay me back.
Oh, Dad.
So that's how it started.
A little friendly wager. What do you say?
Gramps was gonna buy it and bet Pop that we could change his mind about computers.
You're on.
I'm on?
Okay.
Okay, you got
And
it.
that's when Pop thought of points.
Okay, kids, everybody. We get 100 points in 1 month, and I'll pay for the computer.
How do we get points?
I'll figure it out.
You.
All I knew was that we were finally bringing a computer home.
No, not you.
And the next month was gonna be very interesting.
You could be the referee and the judge.
You're so easy with my money.
Bringing a computer home was a pretty big deal in our family, and we couldn't wait to set it up. Pop read all the instructions, but we kids knew it was simple. Keyboard.
Mouse.
Printer. Bingo.
It didn't take a rocket scientist, but Pop took no chances.
According to this, the procedure looks fairly
Hey, Pop,
simple.
you want the honors? Now came the moment of truth. Could Pop start it? Would it actually work? The suspense was too much until... Welcome to Macintosh.
Look at that.
Welcome to the Martinettis.
Now, the Performa had a demo that made learning to use it easy.
Okay, what do I do now?
Click here, Mom.
And right from the start, everybody could.
Aha.
Best of all, the computer came with all kinds of programs ready to use. There are programs for writing and drawing, programs for managing money, too. And the Performa was packed with multimedia. It had a full encyclopedia with pictures and sound, the Family Doctor, and it came with a 3D atlas that was so cool, you could believe you were anywhere on the planet. Now, it didn't take long to get the hang of things, and Mom proved it. She put together the first ever Martinetti family newsletter. She took pictures we had from videos and made those part of it too. And when she printed it out, I could almost sense a new career in the making. Mom, media mogul. Of course, Pop was quick to bring us back to Earth.
All right, now, remember our deal. Earn 100 points, and I pay for the computer. Otherwise...
How do we get points?
Well, here's what I've worked out. You do your homework on the computer, you get a point. You raise your grade, you get 2 points.
No. Come on. That's worth at least 10.
All right.
I have to hand it to Pop.
5 points.
He never makes a decision lightly.
I use it for business?
Yeah.
If you told him this computer could take him to the moon, he'd want to go 3 times to make sure.
It's just an important purchase, Mayor. I want to make sure everybody uses it.
What did I tell you? The funny thing was, the computer fit into our family just like it belonged. I mean, it really helped us all in different ways. Mom found she could do her whole greeting card business with it. She could design new cards and make changes, just like that.
Oh, I like that better.
And to send a copy to her publisher, she just faxed it right from the Performa.
Open wide and say, ah.
Zoe had a whole other universe to explore. She loved learning with multimedia and couldn't get enough.
To have the story
She could read stories that came to life.
that week, everyone in Arthur's class studied harder than ever.
And that taught her things about the world. Fletcher had said there were thousands of CD-ROMs out there. I believed him. And Zoe would have had them all if she could. For me, I like that our computer's a Macintosh, because that's what our school has. And the Macs at school have tons of stuff I use. Only now, instead of staying late, I could bring my work home. I could use our computer to put it together. I could make reports with pictures and sound that were just fantastic.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this...
I think it was Gramps, though, who did the most amazing things. He figured out all kinds of stuff to do with the computer. And he discovered eWorld, the online service from Apple. Gramps had never seen an online service, but before you knew it, he was meeting people from all over. I think it did him a lot of good. More good than he ever dreamed.
You know, Frank, there's other people out there just like me.
No.
Really? People like the same things I do.
Hmm? So who's Rose?
Never you mind.
As the weeks went by, we kept earning points.
Okay, now, including homework, Mom's work, Grandpa's stuff, there's 72 points here. Not bad.
Of course, Zoe thought she deserved points for beating Pop at games.
No points for games.
And Gramps agreed.
Hey, why not? You learn things from games.
Exactly.
Frank and I thought so, but Pop didn't exactly see it our way.
Somebody's not learning enough.
TJ, we'll get points if you bring your math grade up.
I know, I'm working on it.
The proof's in the pudding.
Pop, you know I hate that saying.
The proof
I hate it.
is in the pudding. I like it.
Okay, everybody. Family picture. Perfect.
The thing was, we were having the time of our lives with the computer. And there was no turning back. We just had to convince Pop to keep it. We were desperate. And desperate people try anything. Even math programs. Gramps, what's this?
Never mind. I'll be off here in a minute so you can do your math.
I never would have thought a little machine could make so much difference for a family. And you know what? I still didn't know the half of it. Like, who's Rose? In the days that followed, we all worked on the new computer. Mom did business. Zoe learned all about animals and music. I practiced my equations. And Gramps, he made friends all over cyberspace. Frank went back to college, but he kept in touch with email from the Mac in his dorm. Using the computer just became second nature at our house.
So, this is really helping?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can do your business better now?
Absolutely. Come here, I'll show you what I've been working on. Do you like this one?
Very nice.
Good. I'm faxing a draft to the publisher.
The computer had programs that could help Mom do everything. She could keep track of work schedules, addresses, and projects, all right here.
These are your orders?
Uh-huh.
Not bad.
Zoe, now there's another story. What she did on the computer was awesome. She had a video that we shot at the zoo, and she took scenes from it to make her own picture book.
We went to the zoo, TJ and me. You wouldn't believe all the animals we'd see. Do you like it, Pop?
I think it's gonna be a bestseller.
Oh, here comes Tamino. He's the hero. He's the guy that gets the magic flute.
Now, Gramps, he loves to talk opera. With the CD-ROMs he had, he could talk it with us, and we could learn.
Being chased by a serpent.
What happens after that? Gramps took to the computer like an old hand.
Listen.
Wait,
Listen to the music.
What about Tamino? You know,
He has his own music.
I had a feeling there was something different about him now. Like he had a secret he wasn't ready to share.
Every time you see the serpent, you'll hear that same music. So you can tell the serpent.
As for me, I worked on my favorite subject. Well, math wasn't so bad, if you could go at your own pace. And with the computer, I could.
I think you've got it.
It was about this time that Pop got it, too. I mean, liking the computer. I remember one night, I was awake late. There was Pop. I couldn't believe it. He was calling up eWorld to get quotes on stocks. And he found news articles he wanted too. Then he went to work on his checking account, budgets, and investments. He could even use his DOS files from the office right on the Mac.
I know you're there, TJ.
Have you ever used this thing before?
The last few nights. Good night, son.
Good night, Pop. And then came the day of reckoning.
Email from Frank. He's coming home this weekend.
I got a new order today. A Happy Mother's Day card.
Yay! That's a point for us.
Yes.
You guys will never believe this. Guess what?
What?
I got a B+.
TJ, a B+.
B+.
Oh,
That's
terrific, pal. You did great. You know what? We're just a couple of more points to go.
You didn't add mine, Dad.
Why, you got points?
What for?
Oh, I use the computer to balance the budget, analyze our finances. I made some big decisions on it. Put me down for 5.
5?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Where does that put us?
Where does that put us? You know what? We did it.
We did it. What's happening?
Frank, we're keeping the computer.
No, I'm in the wrong house.
You were never gonna let the computer go, were you, Lou?
I just wanted to make sure everybody would use it. You know, I guess I better write that check, huh?
Oh, I'll get it. Is Carmine in?
Grandpa?
You must be Rose.
And you must be Carmine. Am I late?
Oh, no, you're right on time, right on time. Hey, everybody. This is Rose.
Well,
Hey, Rose.
TJ.
Welcome.
Zoe.
where'd you two meet?
Right over here on the Opera Lovers Forum.
The Opera Lovers Forum? So that's what Gramps had been doing all this time.
So this is your Performa.
Yep, that's it.
How many megs of RAM, Carmine?
8.
I knew you were a power user.
Yeah. And you know what? I read all the magazines.
I do too.
back, and it's like everything changes.
I'd like to propose a toast. To our honored guest, Rose. You are always welcome in our home.
Salute.
Salute, Dad.
Salute. Rose.
So that's our story. 1 month in the life of the Martinettis. I wouldn't say that everything that happened was on account of our computer, but I wouldn't say it wasn't either. I mean, we didn't only get a computer, it got us. And sometimes I think it even knows what it got itself into. Well, after all, it is a Macintosh.
Pacific Power operates generating, transmission, and distribution facilities in 8 western states. To manage this far-flung business efficiently, they've chosen Macintosh personal computers to serve as front ends for a sophisticated executive information system.
Whether he's in electronic mail, into his calendar, into reports that are out on a TSO file somewhere, or into the general ledger system, which is on CICS, or into an IMS in Salt Lake City. All of those things are accessible.
The executive should be able to get the information that exists in those particular places with a single button.
The real issue here is one of freedom and ease of use. The ability to get into a network and not care where you are in that network, where that data resides, that freedom is absolutely crucial.
In Apple's view, the most important connection in any network is the one between the user and the computer.
What our customers expect from us is a wonderful personal computing experience. That's been the objective of the company since the inception of the Macintosh. That's certainly the guiding principle for all of the work we do within Apple Computer, especially in networking.
Apple's philosophy in networking is to provide connectivity to all the systems that our customers want access to without having to deal with the complexities of connecting those systems that they have to deal with today. To basically take the point and click philosophy, being able to point on a screen at an icon and have that be the way that you access information, whether it's local or remote. That's our vision of networking, to make it that simple.
The idea is to bring to networking the same intuitive, consistent interface that makes Macintosh itself so easy to use.
In a networking environment, the value that Macintosh adds is by hiding the fact that the network exists.
You don't have to learn any weird language or commands. You just plug in what you want to get access to, click on it on a screen, and you have it. And it's the same whether you're dealing with local information or remote information. That's what networking should be, and that's what Apple is committed to providing.
We want the network to be transparent. We want it to disappear. We don't want people worrying about whether the wire happens to be a token ring wire or an Ethernet wire. We don't want people worrying about the bit flows on the wire when you establish a session.
Actually, all Macintoshes have networking built in since 1984 because we felt already at that time that it is an important thing to have.
Communication is a standard feature of every Macintosh, a sophisticated but easy-to-use networking system called AppleTalk.
AppleTalk has been part of every Macintosh that we've ever shipped. That is, out of the box, built into our systems, every Mac has the capability to network. You take 2 Macintoshes out of the box, and a laser writer, you plug them together and you have a network.
Now, in order for this to be simple, we had to take away certain things that older systems demanded of the user, like configuration, a rather abstract and forbidding word even by itself. We didn't want you to have to do any configuration whatsoever. You look for something on the network by simply looking in the chooser of the Macintosh for things you want to use. They're shown to you iconically and with names. You pick the thing you want to use and simply use it.
The AppleTalk network system allows you to select the network type that best suits your needs. An AppleTalk Internet router lets you interconnect local talk, token talk, and EtherTalk networks together to build very large, geographically dispersed internets. And no matter how large and complex the network grows, accessing network services remains as easy as pointing and clicking.
I'm told by my marketing friends that the number of connections of AppleTalk today is somewhere between 1.7 million and 2 million.
And people are asking more functionality for AppleTalk because it's being used in wide facilities, wide area networks by entire corporations, by entire organization.
With AppleTalk Phase 2, we have eliminated the limit of the number of devices you can connect to a single AppleTalk network. Well, actually, we still have a limit. It's 16 million devices. Devices connected to any AppleTalk network can pick the zone they want to belong to, independent of other devices. And we have reduced the broadcast traffic to a minimum by using several very sophisticated techniques. And we've done all of these things while maintaining complete compatibility with all existing AppleTalk applications.
With AppleTalk, Macintosh provides plug-and-play networking. It provides the Macintosh desktop extended into a networking environment. Now, we think that that's the way to do networking. And so we want to take that end-user experience and extend it beyond AppleTalk. Extend it, in our words, into 4 key environments. Digital, and we're working closely with digital, IBM, TCP/IP, and OSI.
Apple Computer and Digital Equipment Corporation are integrating Macintosh and VAX computers into a common information environment. With AppleTalk for VMS, a VAX VMS computer system can join an AppleTalk Internet, and any Macintosh computer on the Internet can access the processing and storage capability of the VAX. Macintosh personal computers can participate fully in IBM's Systems Network Architecture environment. With a variety of products that support the key data links in an SNA network. They can connect to token ring local area networks, coaxial cable, and SDLC links. With MacDFT, Macintosh computers can emulate 3270 terminals with the added value of copy and paste functionality. Macintosh personal computers can participate as peers in SNA environments, running cooperative processing applications based on APPC and communicating with other computers on the network. TCP/IP is a widely used industry standard for connecting computers from a number of manufacturers. Macintosh personal computers can be integrated in TCP/IP-based networks over Ethernet, and local talk networks can be connected through a gateway. Either way, you have access to the main network services with the familiar, easy-to-use interface of Macintosh. Now, with MacX, you can access host-based X window applications on your TCP/IP network. It gives users the look and feel of the Macintosh user interface when manipulating X window. Macintosh will also be integrated in network environments based on OSI protocols. Apple has developed an X25 gateway solution and is committed to providing other OSI services as these standards are formalized. No matter what kind of network your Macintosh connects to, you still enjoy the same intuitive, consistent, and direct methods for accessing and manipulating information. With Macintosh, you can access several different environments at the same time. You can run host applications and local applications simultaneously. And you can copy information from other environments and paste it into Macintosh applications, so you can deal with it easily, view it in your own way, and work more productively.
We need to provide tools within our system that allow developers to write great applications which can rely on the underlying plumbing.
You can use Apple's HyperCard software, for example, to create custom point-and-click interfaces which hide the complexities of mainframe applications from the end user. With Mac Workstation, you can enhance mainframe applications so they can make use of Macintosh interface features, making those applications easier to use and preserving your investment in software and data. Using CL1, you can build cooperative processing systems with host database managers and Macintosh applications working together to provide transparent access from local Macintosh applications to host data residing on a digital VAX or IBM mainframe.
The promise of networking is to give users electronic access to information or people around the world, very simply by making the network transparent.
You can share information between users. You can communicate user to user. You can open up basically the world to people. You can give them the freedom to make their choices of what systems they want to use and how they want to connect them together. And all through the same consistent interface, the Macintosh.
What we're trying to do is to make the information that is in some sense locked up inside the steel walls of the mainframe, liberate it, get it onto the desktop so our customers can use it to be creative and to do something productive for their organizations. We think that the application of the Macintosh look and feel to mainframe applications, to mainframe information, and to complex computer networks, done correctly, that's what we bring to the table.
Like most business people today, you're probably aware that computers can help you run your business more effectively. You've no doubt talked to friends and associates and have a general idea of what you'd like a computer to do.
I had a feeling that it was important that I be computerized to stay competitive.
We wanted to make sure that we got a system that wouldn't lock us out, that we would be able to communicate with other systems.
We needed a computer, and we needed to automate our accounting. And more than that, we needed to put together a professional business plan and financials that would show that we were a very serious woman-owned and operated business.
Well, today, we'd like to show you how you can use Macintosh to help you run every area of your business with more ease and control than ever before. There are two parts to this video. In the first part, Success Stories, you'll hear from successful business people like yourself who are using Macintosh computers to help them with virtually every aspect of their business. The second part, A Closer Look, will demonstrate how a variety of Macintosh applications can help you run your business more effectively. If you want to go back and review certain demonstrations in A Closer Look, look for these color codes at the beginning of each section. So that's what lies ahead. We hope you enjoy it. Why put a computer in your business? And why a Macintosh? Well, the best way to answer that is to listen to some people who've done it. We'll let them tell you the kind of results they get from Macintosh and the kind of impact it's had on their bottom line. We'll start in Chicago. A1 Box and Paper is the company. As you're about to see, Macintosh helps them serve their customers better, helps them manage their cash flow, and it raises the productivity of their office staff.
My name is Candy Wertheimer, and I'm president of A1 Box and Paper Company. We are a woman-owned and operated box plant. Right now, we have 23 employees. The moment of decision that we needed a computer was we realized with our cost accounting system, we needed job costs and we needed estimating. We were making far too many mistakes manually. And what we needed more than anything was consistency. And that's when we knew we had to have a computer.
And what we have to do is measure it, and we have to also be doing an estimate on the computer.
The Macintosh has been wonderful in growing with us. Dorothy is our inside sales correspondent. She was on the Mac within one day. She'll write up the orders, she'll draft the specifications. She also does the estimating. She uses it every day, every minute of every hour. In fact, I think that's an extension of her hands at this point. Kathy handles all the orders, all the inventory, the cash receipts, accounts receivable. All of the women have been cross-trained on the Macintosh. You need at least twice as many people in the office if you didn't have the Macintosh computer. And that's worth everything. That's just worth its weight in gold. My mom is a great salesperson. She goes out, she does things for customers that are beyond the call of duty. She works with the computer, she works on all the reports for the computer, especially with the accounts receivable, the aging. We've gotten our receivables down because of the Macintosh from 65 days to between 35 and 45 days. She's great. Many times I'll get a crisis phone call from my customer. I need boxes, I have my widgets coming down the line, and I need boxes in 24 hours. And that's what kind of service I can provide by knowing what is on the floor at all times. And that's the advantages of a Macintosh. The one thing that made me decide on the computer was my husband, Michael. He had been hired as our accountant. In fact, that's how we had met.
If a person came to me today and said, I'm going to buy a computer, where do I start? Get a consultant and get a good dealer. And talk to all of them, and I know what your answer is going to be. You're going to buy a Mac. On the Macintosh computer, we implement not only the standard accounting packages of general ledger, accounts receivable, accounts payable, inventory, and payroll. We also have modules that handle order entry, purchase order, and more detailed inventory management. My favorite module is Executive Advisor. It is a graphic representation of the database information that's available from the various modules. The Macintosh has eliminated the accountants in this place. With the exception of an end-of-year review, all of the information is being handled by regular people.
You've seen the Macintosh in our office, and in a couple of years, it'll be out on the production floor used by our employees. In fact, I can tell you a cute story about our maintenance man, Frank O'Meara. Frank has been in the business for 45 years. He's a genius when it comes to fixing things. He came in about a couple months ago and said, you know, I need an inventory reporting system for all my parts. We said, fine, we'll put it on the Excel program. Well, he uses it on Friday, and let me tell you something, it's impossible for us to get it back.
The reason why I use Macintosh in accounting is because it's not a computer for accounting. It's a computer for people. I'm an accountant. I have 5 different calculators. Each one does a trick. But I can only have one computer, and that computer's got to be a jack of all trades, and it's got to be used by all kinds of people. That's why we have a Macintosh.
Chicago's a great city. I love the action, I love the people, and I love my job. The happiest people are the people who discover that what they should be doing and what they are doing are one and the same. And the Macintosh has literally made my company survive and has made it thrive. So I can tell you that the Macintosh has made me very, very happy.
You can begin to understand why we call this section Success Stories. Ease of use is one of the things people mention most when they talk about Macintosh. And as you'll find out in this next story, it's important not just to beginners. In fact, it becomes even more important as you keep learning new kinds of software.
My family has lived here in New Hampshire for over 5 generations. The quality of life here can't be beat anywhere else in the world. My name is John Robinson. I'm a design builder here in the Lakes region of New Hampshire. The first thing I do in the morning before my first cup of coffee is turn on my Mac to see exactly where I am and get down to business. I build quality homes. I stress quality all through my business.
Did a great job, Jack.
Mac has really helped me develop my creative abilities. With the Mac, I can try multiple what-if situations that really help me improve the design capabilities. I don't find anything real mystical about the Mac. I just look at the Mac as another tool in my toolbox, like a saw or a hammer. It's a tool. I'm vice president of chapter of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association, and we use the Mac for monthly newsletter. We have an advertisement section where subcontractors and builders can advertise. We do all the layouts on the Macintosh. We use it for real estate brochures, for accounting, for design work, for project scheduling. In fact, I would say the Mac is my project manager. You know, I couldn't imagine doing payroll without that computer. We know exactly how many hours each man spent on different phases as we moved through that job. Before I had a Mac, I tried working with an MS-DOS and just was not happy with that kind of environment because I just had to remember how to use the machine. Every time I sat down on the machine, I had to retrain myself. When I talk to architects or engineers or other professionals in my business, or the question of incompatibility arises, and I just feel there is no such thing as incompatibility. I can take an MS-DOS disk, insert it into my data file, and translate it over into the Macintosh environment. MLS is a multiple listing service that's available to all the brokers in the Lakes region. As a real estate broker, my wife Leslie can access those listings directly through the Macintosh. She'll put together an analysis that she'll take off the MLS computer showing what's sold in that price range and be able to import the information from the MLS into professional documents without having to shuffle through paper and retype information.
Another really nice feature of the Macintosh that we find really handy, particularly in working with buyers, and it's very impressive, is the amortization schedule that we can pull up instantaneously on the computer. That shows people what their monthly payments are going to be based on a certain percentage rate, and it will tell them what they can afford to take out as a mortgage. So it's a really handy tool.
I believe that without the Macintosh, with the recession that we're in New England, I wouldn't have the ability to be on top of the profit and loss statement the way I am now. I have to stay in business. There are some people out there who are bidding jobs at below cost. I believe that they're doing that honestly, but I can't bid a job at below cost. I want to stay in business, and with the Macintosh, I have that ability. The Macintosh is my estimator, my design assistant, my project manager, my accountant, my document producer. It's my silent partner.
For our final story, we're going to visit a law firm. The 12 lawyers at Johnson & Montgomery are new Macintosh users, but they haven't been slow to put the machine to use. Within just a few weeks, Macintosh has transformed the way they manage communication and information.
The thing that attracted me about the sport of triathlon was, just like the practice of law, you get the opportunity to excel in a lot of different areas in 3 sports rather than just one event. We looked for computers that could do a lot of different things rather than just one thing. And the Macintosh was a natural answer to that question. It's a computer that a user who has basic knowledge can do a lot of different things with once you learn how to turn the machine on. The Apple dealer that we have worked with came in, did an evaluation of all the things that we wanted to be able to do with a computer. The support's been tremendous. We managed to get the entire office wired for our network on one Saturday. There were 3 guys that came in, wired across 3 floors, just worked real well for us. I'll have to say, over some skepticism, on Friday afternoon we had no network, and on Monday morning it was up and running. Sid Johnson is one of the founding partners of the firm. For the past 6 years, he's been serving as the DeKalb County attorney. The jury verdict, we feel, which has already been overturned in that case.
In this office, which is 6 or 8 miles removed from my firm office, I conduct the county attorney's business. We found it was impossible to get in touch with each other by telephone. So with the Macs and Quick Mail, we were able to carry on 2 levels of conversation, one by telephone and one by computer. I find that the Mac has given me a more comprehensive ability, a deeper reach into the documents without having to pull documents themselves. We can reach into the deposition looking for particular subject matters without having to sit down and read page by page. We look at everything in terms of production. A law firm is in many ways just like any other business. Well, we produce paper and we produce the results from paper instead of tin cans and widgets. And the ability to move from one piece of paper, one document to another, to pull documents together, to compare documents quickly and easily and comprehensively aids us in that production in ways that we have not been able to experience before.
It's very difficult for any firm, much less a medium-sized firm like ours, to maintain a library that's going to have all the information that you might possibly need. One of the things we've done on the Mac is to make that available on every lawyer's desk so that now virtually any legal writings are available for research right there on your desktop. You're able to be a lot more creative in how you present things and how you make arguments. We can use graphics programs to prepare trial presentations and displays. Westlaw is the database that we use. We're now able to cut and paste and edit in the same way that you would any other Mac interface. And so we can go to a case, pull a quote or a paragraph out, copy it, and paste it directly into a brief. It's really been remarkable.
Among your duties as an employee,
In trial, you've got to be able to see the information and get to it quickly. It may be necessary to locate a point of law or a point of evidence at any time during a trial from a large database that's been developed during the several years in which a case is being prepared for trial. Macintosh gives you the opportunity to do that. Being in the courtroom is a lot like being in a race. It is a competition, and the guys at the other table are your competition. One of the things we have focused on all the way through our evaluation on the Mac is that when you go to court, you're going to do battle. And when we go to do battle, we want to smoke them.
Now that you've seen how some companies are using Macintosh computers to improve the way they do business, we'd like to show you examples of how powerful Macintosh business programs can help you develop and manage your business better.
With the pictures, with the graphics, I know what to do, I know what to say, I know how to get where I'm going.
From the beginning, the Macintosh graphical user interface was designed specifically to work the way you work. That goes back to Apple's fundamental design premise that a personal computer should be personal. In addition, all Macintosh programs are designed to work in the same consistent, intuitive way. So once you've learned one, you have a good idea how all the others work too. You always begin with the familiar Macintosh computer desktop, where you'll find all your applications and files in a very familiar form, either as folders or individual documents. Just like your real office desk, you can organize everything on your Macintosh desktop to suit you. These are file folders created for different business functions. For example, accounting. You can organize all your individual files simply by dragging them into folders. At the top of the screen are pull-down menus. Use the mouse to point and click on any of these menus to display your options. For example, to open a folder, simply use the mouse to select the folder you want by pointing and clicking. Then position the pointer on File in the menu bar, hold the mouse button down until it highlights Open, and release the mouse. These pull-down menus are similar in all Macintosh applications. Macintosh allows you to keep several applications open at the same time and easily move back and forth between programs with a single mouse click. You quit each of them the very same way by selecting Quit from the pull-down menu. Now, let's say you want to copy a document to a disk to give to a coworker. Just select the document and drag it to the disk icon. Your document will automatically be copied to that disk. Throwing away a file is just as easy. Simply drag it to the trash can icon. Other computers require you to memorize complicated commands that are different with each task or application. With Macintosh, you'll never have to memorize codes or commands. So you'll be free to concentrate on what you need to do, not on how to get a computer to do it.
The Macintosh has been the greatest thing for developing our business. And I know that it can develop other businesses because I see through Michael's clients how much it has helped them.
To start with, let's look at some of the things you can do to develop your customer list. With target marketing software, you can pinpoint your best prospects and create your own direct mail lists. You can analyze prospects by geographic areas and by type of business to determine where your best prospects are located. You can also select businesses by annual sales and by number of employees. Once you have defined your list, you can preview it. Location, size, number of employees, annual sales, and type of ownership are just some of the kinds of information you can have for every prospect on your list. Once you've selected names for targeted mailings, you can use the detail records to create mailing labels, reports, or export the data to a database for further manipulation. If you're working with an outside list broker or anyone else with an MS-DOS computer, no problem. Macintosh can read from and write to MS-DOS and OS/2 systems. In fact, if you need to, you can actually run MS-DOS applications directly on your Macintosh. so it is easy to share information no matter where it comes from. Now that you've seen how Macintosh can help you create or expand customer lists, let's look at how you can manage your own customer database more efficiently. Modifying a customer record is as easy as pressing a button and making a selection. You can maintain the exact information you need on each of your customers quickly and easily. Of course, you can track more than just your customers' names, addresses, and phone numbers. How about what products or services they bought and when? The names of key contacts. Here is a running account by date of all your customer contacts, which you can review and update at any time. Macintosh makes it easy to merge customer information from your database with letters and other documents in your word processing application. This process is called mail merge, and it allows you to quickly produce personalized letters for your customers. When you write a letter for a mail merge operation, you insert placeholders where the specific database information will go, such as name, address, city, state, zip. These placeholders can go anywhere in the document. Before we send this letter, let's make a few changes to show you how easy word processing is on the Macintosh. To begin, let's move the paragraph about special discounts from page 1 to page 2. First, highlight the paragraph with the mouse. Then go to the Edit menu and choose Cut. Once you position the pointer where you want the paragraph inserted, you paste it in place. And there it is. You can also cut and paste information from other applications. If you're used to using a DOS system or manual layouts, you'll really appreciate how easy this is to do. To create emphasis, you can highlight words by underlining or by changing plain text to bold or italics. And you can easily make type larger or smaller. For larger documents, you can automatically number pages, create a table of contents, change from single columns to multiple columns, and much more just by clicking the mouse. Now that you've added some style, your letter is ready to print and mail. When you select Merge from the File menu, your Macintosh will print a letter customized for each person on your mailing list. Macintosh will make your business development more profitable and will enhance your company's professional image too.
A business has to be run on a daily basis, and as well as you have to have all your financial information at your fingertips on a monthly basis.
Macintosh offers a wide range of powerful accounting, financial analysis, and reporting programs. They're designed to help you improve your financial control and save you hours of accounting time. In all Macintosh accounting software, accounting is organized by a function or a task. To make a journal entry, you select the Journal menu option. To fill in a form, like a purchase order, credit memo, or invoice, you select the Forms menu option. The invoice is a good example of how accounting on the Macintosh is both fast and flexible. Notice how Macintosh accounting screens look a lot like the forms you're used to using manually. First, let's add the customer's name. It's easy. Just select it from your customer list. Once you select the name you want, customer details such as address, terms, and discounts are automatically entered in the invoice. Now, click on the first line of the invoice and press the Tab key, and the inventory list pops up automatically. Then double-click on the inventory item to enter it onto the invoice. That's all there is to it. Macintosh accounting programs let you create a wide range of reports. Of course, you can create the standard reports such as trial balance, income statement, aging report, and payroll reports. But additionally, Macintosh allows you to create your own customized reports. You get the exact information you need to make sound decisions. Say you want to look at your customer's credit history before continuing with your next invoice. Just choose a time period and the way you want the information arranged, and your report is ready. You can now resume processing your invoices. When you are ready to make an entry in your sales journal, you'll see a screen like this. To record a payment, just enter the amount and click on the invoice being paid. You can even allocate one payment across many invoices if you wish. Macintosh accounting programs are integrated, so when you add transactions to accounts payable, your aging reports, suppliers' accounts, and inventory are all automatically updated. Likewise, changes in accounts receivable will be easily updated in your trial balance sheet. As you can see, Macintosh is a valuable tool for managing your company's cash flow and financial status.
The first thing every bank wants to know, besides standard financials, are they want your history, but they want to know where you're going. And we didn't know where they were going, but we could draw them a picture of what it would look like when they got there.
This portion of a closer look will show you how Macintosh spreadsheets and project management software will help you manage your business better. You can use Macintosh spreadsheet software to figure everything from sales projections and cost-benefit analyses to loan payment tables and depreciation charts. And as we'll see, spreadsheets are great tools for doing what-if analyses. For example, what if you raised a product's price by 5%? What if you leased new equipment rather than bought it? Here's what a spreadsheet looks like on a Macintosh. Horizontal rows and vertical columns define cells that you work in, such as C6. Spreadsheets allow you to write formulas that easily calculate changes in data. You can enter text, numbers, or several kinds of formulas depending on your need. If you want to see what will happen if you make a change in unit price, just type in the new number. The spreadsheet will automatically recalculate to show you the impact on total sales and variable costs. With a spreadsheet, you can format the data in a variety of graphs. Sometimes simple bar and pie charts are the best way to show your information. But for a more dramatic presentation, you may want a three-dimensional view. And if your numbers change, your chart is automatically updated to reflect the change. Representing data graphically can help you interpret it more easily. And you can present information more powerfully and persuasively than ever before. Like many applications on a Macintosh, once you start using spreadsheet software, you may wonder how you ever got along without it. Another way Macintosh can help manage your business is project planning. When you're managing a project, the one thing you can count on is changes. But with Macintosh, it's a lot easier to adapt quickly to changes and still meet your deadlines and stay on budget. To begin a plan, you put the main steps in project table form. As the project begins to take shape, you can expand upon it. From there, you can display your critical path on a chart like this. Now you can easily see the big picture, where everything is going and how it all must fit together. With project management software, you can also show your plan as a bar chart. Macintosh helps even the best project manager get better results. When a date changes, it can immediately tell you how that impacts your schedule, costs, resources, or income. With this kind of information at your fingertips, you can make decisions now to save time and costs later.
We do a lot of what I call desktop publishing. I don't know if that's the true definition. We don't get very sophisticated, but we do all our ad layout. We do proposals that look very professional because of the layout on the proposals.
You're probably aware that Macintosh has set the standard for desktop publishing. You may have thought programs like this were only for graphic professionals, But regardless of your graphic skills, you can use them to produce high-quality printed materials with your own Macintosh. And when you manage all your design and production in-house, you can save both time and money. Here's a layout for a brochure. You can choose from a variety of ready-to-use templates that will give your materials a professional and consistent look. When you add copy, it automatically flows into the columns of the layout. Then you can easily move it around and adjust it until you're satisfied with the results. And you can add photos. First, you put a photo through a scanner, which automatically copies it into the Macintosh. Then you can position the photo wherever you like. Depending on the quality you require, you can take the output from your Apple laser writer to a print shop. Or for the highest possible quality, a service bureau can generate true typeset quality masters directly from your Macintosh disk. And in addition to enhancing your professional image, pieces like this can help improve your bottom line. The demonstrations you've just seen have probably given you a lot of new ideas of how Macintosh can help you in your business. And we've shown you some of the things that set Macintosh apart from other computers. I'd like to take a minute here to review the most important ways that Macintosh is better. First, it's consistent. It's not only easy to learn your first program, but you'll find that all Macintosh programs work in virtually the same way. And setup time is minimal, so you'll be up and running in no time and can see increases in productivity right away. Second, Macintosh computers offer a wide range of compatibility. With the use of Apple File Exchange, you are compatible with MS-DOS and OS/2 systems. In addition, you're able to read from and write to Apple II systems. So you can quickly access information you need from coworkers, vendors, or clients, no matter what kinds of computers they use. Third, Macintosh computers are flexible. They can do many jobs at once, just like you do. If you're working in your spreadsheet program, analyzing your quarterly cash flow, and you have to check something in inventory in your accounting program, it's easy. Finally, Macintosh is a sound investment. To begin with, you'll have a powerful state-of-the-art system with thousands of business software programs available, no matter which model you buy. It's easy to learn, so training time will be minimized. And as new technology evolves, Macintosh is designed to expand and grow with you as you identify new needs. Consistent, compatible, flexible, and a sound investment. It's a hard combination to beat. Now that you've really had a closer look at Macintosh, we have some parting words from the business people introduced in the first part of the tape.
People ask me all the time why I use the Macintosh. The Macintosh has allowed me to run the business the way I want to run the business.
Once you learn how to use just the basic things, you can do a lot of things.
I just want the system to work for me the way I want to work, and I feel the Macintosh does that.
Since we've gone totally Mac, we have noticed a measurable increase in our productivity.
The Mac has changed my business and improved my life.